Good afternoon, friends. Really good to be here with you this afternoon. In April 2017, I did some hiking and I did some biking, and I even did a little bit of running in the Arizonian desert. I mean, this is an arid, barren landscape. It's really rough, man. It's really rough. You have some cacti and you have the occasional lizard and the odd gopher puppets head up for company, but there's not much else out there. And it's really hot. I mean, really, really hot, like you would not believe. To make any progress, you have to get out early and beat that heat. You have to find some shade. You have to work out ways that you're going to get on and through and by this heat. You have to wear a hat. You have to do anything. Take on extra water to prepare yourself to get through it. And progress is slow. Looking after yourself is really high on the agenda. Enjoyment and progress, you can attain things, it can happen, but you've got to realise that it's going to be slow. And those nice green mountains off in the distance, they ain't going to come about quickly. In September, we moved up here to Northumberland, to Bedlington in Northumberland, and man, winter up here was cold. The wind sweeps in off the North Sea, and it literally bites you in the butt. It goes straight through your clothes. And around January, I think, or February time, I started to long for those warmer summer days. The land had become barren, actually. It had become pretty bleak up here. And there was a lot of flooding too. Nothing was growing. And I spent a lot of time thinking about warming up. I spent a lot of time preparing for the cold, putting on extra. I mean, right now, a lot of northeastern men, they're laughing at me, they went out in their shorts. But anyone else, from anywhere else in the UK, they were going out prepared, looking like the Michelin Man. You remember him? And that's right, you've got to get dressed up proper, you've got to wear your bobble hat, you've got to be prepared, or the wind and cold will get you. Again, progress is a bit slower, things take more time, and survival becomes one of the most important things during that time. Both experiences, the desert and the winter, they were like opposites in some ways, but they were also the same. And that's because they are experiences of wilderness. And wilderness, while some travel companies might share it as some sort of dream to be out in the wilderness, actually wilderness means when you are out of your comfort zone, in a place where you're not served comfortably, you don't have enough food, you don't have the right temperature to look after yourself. A wilderness experience is when you are put proper out of your comfort zone. During the Northumberland winter, I was really looking forward to spring, and boy has it sprung. There is birds like I've never seen before, singing joyously. The sun is out and it's gaining strength. The fields are green, flowers are in bloom. Spring is signalling the end of winter. And yes, the lockdown wilderness that many of us in England, it maybe around the world, have found ourselves in continues. But there are some small signs of spring creeping in. I mean, they now give us a whole day's worth of unlimited exercise. And for most people, that is not really a sign of spring. An hour was plenty, thank you very much. But for some, that is joyous, and that is like springtime. I can exercise all day now. For some, the news that schools are starting to look to open up and bring back some year groups, that is also like spring. Yes, for some it might be causing big concern, but for some people it is a sign of spring. And for nearly all of us, the fact that the curve, the infection rate and the death rate, that curve that we're all talking about, is on the way down, really is a sign of spring. And the workload that has been heaped on the shoulders of many that have tried to prop up our health service and prop up our economy during this time, that is starting to show signs of easing too. Spring, lockdown spring, is starting to show signs that is on the horizon. I just want to finish here with saying a couple of things really. Listen, you have to accept wilderness is real. When you're out of your comfort zone, in somewhere dangerous like the desert or the winter, if you try to pretend that life is normal, you won't make it. You have to accept wilderness is real and do some things to prepare yourself for the day in the wilderness. And when you're in the wilderness, I want to encourage you, this is the second point, trust God. God is in control. God is the creator of the universe, and he is with you there in the wilderness. And trusting God in these places of real discomfort will enable you to survive and to start to make progress. And thirdly, We have to believe that spring is coming. Spring is on the horizon. Listen, accept the wilderness is real. Trust in God and believe that spring is coming. These are the keys to unlocking joy and peace, and to just expelling those foggy brains that we're experiencing, those feelings of anxiety and guilt that we're experiencing. Accepting it's real, trusting God, and believing that spring is just around the corner. I'm going to finish with these words of Isaiah. This is a prophecy from thousands of years ago, and we hope for this, and we are starting to see signs. Wilderness and desert will sing joyously. The Badlands will celebrate and flower, like the crocus in spring bursting into blossom, a symphony of song and colour. God's glory full on display. God is awesome. God is majestic. God will energize the limp hands. He will strengthen those rubbery knees. Tearful souls, take heart, have courage. God is here. He is right here, on his way to put things right and redress all wrongs. He's on his way, and he will save you. Blind eyes will be opened, deaf ears unstopped, lame men and women will leap like deer, the voiceless will break into song. Springs of water will burst out in the wilderness, streams flow in the desert, hot sands will become a cool oasis. Thirsty ground a splashing fountain, and barren grasslands will flourish richly. Today, this afternoon, I want to encourage you with that verse from Isaiah 35. Take heart, spring is just around the corner.